Welcome into another week of Morning JOX here on JOX 94.5. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you, kicking off another week for you. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I was off for a couple days, enjoyed a nice extended weekend down there in the beaches of Destin, enjoying some time with one of my friends before he makes the ultimate commitment and gets married in a couple of weeks. So had a big time down there. Appreciate Saber coming in and joining you, Damian, for a couple of days. And I know you had a good weekend as well, Damian. So hopefully everyone else out there enjoying their weekend as well.
Absolutely, man. It was fun. I got a chance to. So my mom is going out of town for Mother's Day, which is coming up this weekend. So we moved our activities up over the weekend. Went and got pedicures, took her out, had dinner, lunch, whatever, and just chilled. And then also we got a chance to see our Birmingham Stallions get back on the winning side of things. And it was the ultimate hate watch for me. I wish these Brahmas would have started another quarterback, but it didn't even matter who they would have put out there because the Birmingham Stallions did what we did best, and that's called winning. Now, did it come with a sacrifice of pretty much every quarterback on the roster? Absolutely, but it's been a long season. But getting back on the right side of things, especially here at home, it was good to see.
Yes, it certainly was. So there were a number of things going on this weekend. Of course, you did have the Stallions in action yesterday. We'll get down to that here in just a minute. You also had the Braves in a big series taking on the Dodgers. You had a pretty weird and kind of wild weekend of SEC baseball. I know, especially if you're an Auburn or a Tennessee fan, things got really chippy between those two programs this weekend. So a lot of stuff to kind of catch up on from over the weekend. But we will start here in the city of Birmingham, where yesterday you had the Birmingham Stallions in town taking on the San Antonio Brahmas. And this was a game going in where you had a Brahmas team that, let's just be honest, wasn't very good. But coming off of the disappointing performance against Memphis and having some problems there recently, you maybe were, we needed to see something positive from the Stallions. We needed to see some progress on the offensive side of the ball. We knew that we were going to get Chase Cookus, but we also know that we were going to get Peasley in there. So we were going to have a little bit of a quarterback rotation going on. But it ultimately ends up paying dividends for the Stallions as they clobbered the Brahmas yesterday, 26-3, excuse me. And really, I mean, offensively, I thought the Stallions did a good job, probably the best game that they've had overall this season. Granted, you were going up against the worst defense in the league in San Antonio. But that was what you needed. But really what the Stallions were able to do defensively was so impressive to me, because you really look at outside of the end of the first half where you had a couple of big plays for San Antonio where they were able to go down the field and kick that field goal for their only points of the day. I mean, that was almost 50% of the total yardage that San Antonio had in the whole game was on that last drive, just trying to get into field goal range before halftime, which they did. But I thought the Stallions absolutely were phenomenal defensively. And you just go and you look at Kevin Hogan for the Brahmas. He finishes with 179 passing yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. You hold them to 24 yards on 13 carries as a team yesterday if you're the Stallions. So absolutely fantastic work there by that Stallions defense. But then offensively, you did have Cookus. He goes for 16 of 23, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. You'll certainly take that. I mean, you're completing about 70% of your passes, no turnovers or no interceptions there. You also had Peasley, who he came in, he went 5 of 8 for 79 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He did have that fumble early on where, I mean, I felt bad for him. He got absolutely lit up. Like he did not see that coming whatsoever. But outside of that, you did have another day on the ground for Ricky Persons Jr. He has 9 carries for 32 yards and a tutty. Yesterday, CJ Marable, he got the bulk of the carries, though. He goes 14 carries for only 26 yards, so not the most productive day for him. But Cookus gives you 16 on the ground. Peasley gives you 10 on the ground from under center as well there. And then you had Amari Rogers on the receiving end of a big touchdown, as well as Jay Sternberger. So a big day overall there for the Stallions. And we can quickly If you missed this, go into the locker room a little bit. This is what you heard. If you check out the Stallions on social media, they posted this video. This is Skip Holtz after the game addressing the Stallions in the locker room. There you go. That is Skip Holtz, the head coach of the Birmingham Stallions there. I'm assuming they edited some of that for the kids at home. But yeah, so a big win there for the Stallions. They now move to 4-2 on the season. They are tied for the lead in the USFL division. Because again, if you've forgotten, there's the USFL division and the XFL division. So right now, Birmingham's still at the top. That the Memphis one stings though, because you're sitting there and you're going, man, we would be the only 5-1 team in the league if they had been able to ultimately pull that one out in overtime, but they didn't. But you get back to your winning ways, Damian, yesterday by laying the smackdown a little bit there on San Antonio.
Yeah, and it's something that we needed to see. I think for the Stallions, and here's the thing: if you want to nitpick, a couple of the deep balls that we probably should have landed. Even Skip Holtz had to tell the quarterbacks, like, just give the guys a chance. Just
Man, there was one to Kane early on down the sideline where it was. I mean,
no, if it just touches somewhere in the vicinity of his hands, it's a TD. But I mean, with all the quarterback rotation that we've had due to injuries and things, those are kind of the things that it happens because a lot of the reps that you hadn't been able to get and staying consistent with the quarterback position. But the fact is, a win in this situation, especially with the way that the schedule lays out and the way that the standings are, you'll take a win however you possibly get it. And I think offensively, that's what we needed to see. I think I got to give a lot of shout out to Peasley, what he's able to do with some of his legs. And I think that offensively, what Skip is really trying to do is, as long as you tread water, like nobody's expecting the offense to go out there and just light it up because of how inconsistent we have to be because of the quarterback position. But I think as long as you're figuring out ways to get a W in the end, it does not even matter. And the thing is, if the loss to DC to start the season, you understand. It's that Memphis game, like you said. It's that one. It's still hard to stomach because they're the worst. Them and the San Antonio Brahmas are two of the worst teams in the league. But you got a chance to get back into the winning side of things against San Antonio, and now you have to find ways to win in order to lock up a playoff spot. And I feel confident that the Birmingham Stallions will go out there and handle business.
Well, and the good thing for the Stallions, right, is you absolutely 100% control your own destiny because your next 3 games, you are going to get Memphis again at the end, but you have 3 games now in a row against the Roughnecks, Battlehawks, and Panthers. And so, of course, the Battlehawks have been good this year. The Panthers, with Bryce Perkins and some of the stuff he was doing yesterday, if you saw some of those highlights, they look pretty dangerous as well. And then, of course, we have the Roughnecks. That's going to be the next game on the slate for the Stallions this Sunday, an 11 a.m. kickoff there on ABC from Protective Stadium here downtown. But you have an opportunity here, right? You're 4-2. You are in first place in your side of the bracket right now. You are tied with Michigan. You're 1 game ahead of Houston. So you get a win this weekend. You create that 2-game separation between you and Houston. You probably feel pretty good about the rest of the way. And then, of course, you can also get another win over Michigan here to get you some separation there as well. But yeah, I would say Stallions, they're in a good spot right now. They're in a good spot, but you need to continue to win. And obviously, if you're hoping for that 4-peat, I think we're going to continue to need to see more from them offensively in order to, if we're going to see them hoisting the trophy again here in Birmingham. And I mean, again, it has also just been so much bad luck with, I mean, even Peasley got hurt yesterday. Like, seriously, if you're a quarterback for the Birmingham Stallions, like there's just a curse that seems to be hanging over that team this year. So hopefully they're able to get some of that squared away and we're able to get Magoo and Corral and everybody back at some point. But you do have Jamar Smith back in town. Saw him on the sidelines yesterday. So there are reinforcements, but let's be honest, no one wants to be on their 5th string quarterback. So Let's hope that these guys are able to get healthy because this has been the best defense in the UFL so far this year. They've only given up 82 points through 6 games. That's pretty ridiculous. But offensively, still have a ways to go there. So big win for the Stallions. They are 4-2 now on the season. They will take on the Houston Roughnecks coming up this Sunday. That'll be Game 7 here of the 2025 season. So that's what's going on with the Birmingham Stallions. We also had a lot going on in the world of Major League Baseball as well as college baseball, from the Braves taking on the Dodgers. And of course, here we had Alabama taking on Vanderbilt in the SEC, had Auburn taking on Tennessee. Some wild things going on over the weekend. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back on the other side, diving into what happened this weekend on the diamond. What did you miss in the world of both Major League Baseball and right here in the SEC? Give you everything you need to know on the other side of JOX 94.5. Uh 6:15 here on your Monday morning. Appreciate you joining us here on Morning JOX. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you, breaking down everything that you missed over the weekend. Man, Damian, I wish I could share that story on the air because a lot of people would have laughed, but
Yeah, 1000%.
I
So
cannot do that, unfortunately.
you'll keep that one in the locker room.
I will keep that one in the locker room. But yeah, I had a great weekend down there at the beach. Hope y'all did as well. I know the weather here was less than ideal, but it looks like we're gonna have a pretty nice week this week. A little chilly this morning though. I was a little surprised by that, but it'll warm up here. But we did have a lot of things going on in the world of baseball over the weekend. So we'll start off first in the world of Major League Baseball, and then we'll head over to SEC country. But you did have the Braves hosting the Los Angeles Dodgers. So this was a big opportunity for Atlanta, who had kind of turned things around against the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, and the Cardinals here recently. Now this was the real test, right? You're bringing in the Dodgers, the World Series favorite. Can you continue your hot streak? Can you continue to swing a hot bat? And unfortunately for the Braves, it wasn't a weekend that went the way that they had hoped it would. But the good news is that you did win the final game of the set yesterday. So over the weekend, the Braves lose 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. On Friday, they fell 2-1. Then on Saturday, you had a 10-3 loss to the Dodgers, and then yesterday a 4-3 victory there for the Atlanta Braves, in which Austin Riley homered in both of his first 2 at bats with Alex Verdugo on base both times. So a couple of 2-run home runs there for Austin Riley, and fortunately for the Braves, that was all they needed. So it got a little sketchy there later in the game as it was 4-3 in the 7th after a Dodgers home run, but the bullpen fortunately able to come in, shut things down there for Atlanta. You had Bryce Elder on the bump yesterday. He gave you 5 strong innings, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 2 walks allowed there for Bryce Elder, and then the bullpen the rest of the way only giving up that 1 earned run on a home run there in the 7th inning. So good way for the Braves to pick up a game there at the end of the series. Now they get to face a very familiar opponent for one of us here in the Cincinnati Reds. So Damian and Landrum will not talk to each other for the next 3 days. But that's going to be another big series with a big opportunity really for both teams, Damian, because I know you Reds are
we're hovering we're hovering around just about average and above average. Then we'll have like a 3-game weekend where it doesn't go our way and we fall below 500. We're kind of we're skating by, but this is like you said, this is an important series for both of us. And no, listen, me and Landry, we're professional. We'll keep everything covered.
Well, I know you are. I'm more so talking about Landry.
Yeah, he's emotional.
He is.
He's emotional about his Braves, but I think that this could be an interesting series. It's a pivotal one for both of us, and I think for the Braves, you're just trying to build some confidence as the season. Again, it's a long season, but you want to have some sort of momentum here as the early on. And for the Reds, Ellie De La Cruz. If once he starts batting, above 270, he's going to be in the MVP conversation. It's just it just takes some time. The Reds as a whole unit, there's some inconsistencies, but we're getting there. I think that our pitching is vastly underrated. It's the people behind the pitchers that just find a way. If you could, instead of the 0 for 1, 0 for 4s, can we turn that into a 1 for 3 or something like that? But yeah, I think for both teams, it's a nice stretch of just kind of figuring out where we are.
Yeah, no, I think if you're the Reds, you have to feel pretty good. I mean, being a couple games over 500 now, the Cubs look really good in the Central there. But no, I mean, if you being a Reds fan, Damian, I think you have probably more reason to be optimistic now than you have in quite some time. I'll just say that. So that'll be a big series coming up between the Braves and the Reds. So that is going to. That series is going to get underway for you tonight. You'll be able to hear that game right here on JOX 94.5. First pitch going to be around 6:15, so 6 p.m. here. So right after Paul, actually, you should be taken right into the pregame show, there for the Atlanta Braves as they will host the Cincinnati Reds in Atlanta tonight. All right, I did also, and I have to toot my team's own horn real quick here for a second because I'm a Yankees fan and they did not have a great weekend in terms of what's going on in Tampa Bay. But I do just have to highlight real quick, we just need to take a second and appreciate what Aaron Judge is doing in the game of baseball right now. It's truly hard to fathom um, how good he has been for the last couple of years. And it's like every year it's okay, he's not going to be any better than next year. And he continues to get better and better as he gets older. Even now he's in his early 30s. It's just remarkable. But I just have to give a quick shout out to my guy, Aaron Judge, who after another weekend, the Yankees did drop 2 of 3 to the Tampa Bay Rays there, which was unfortunate. But right now, this man is hitting 423 with 11 home runs, 33 RBIs. He has 55 hits, 10 more hits than anybody else in the game of baseball. His batting average is 74 points higher than the person in second place, who is also on the Yankees. I have to throw that out there. But
so he's dialed in. That's what you're saying.
Yes, it is absolutely insane what this man is doing on a day in and day out basis. And I know that we all get caught up in Ohtani, and Ohtani's wonderful, and he is one of a kind. But Aaron Judge is the best person playing baseball on the planet Earth right now. And it truly is remarkable. I get it. He plays for the Yankees. A lot of people hate the Yankees. A lot of people didn't like it a couple years ago when we were doing the double box in college football season, when he was chasing the American League home run record, and that soured him on Aaron Judge, maybe, whatever. But I mean, he's having, again, you could say this about his last couple of offensive seasons, but I mean, he's in truly territory that only Barry Bonds has really been in. When you look at what he's done over the last really year and a half, 2 years with the Yankees, it's been absolutely phenomenal. And it is a true joy to get to watch somebody like that play the game of baseball. And I know a lot of people here probably don't care about that, don't keep up with that, but I have to give a shout out to Aaron Judge. That it has been absolutely awesome to watch him play this year, and he has been, the gap between him and the second best player in baseball this year is quite large in my opinion, and it is very cool to watch him play, and the fact that we're here in early March on Cinco de Mayo and we're still talking about a guy that's hitting well over 400. He has nearly, I mean, we're talking about approaching 100-point lead when it comes to batting average across all of Major League Baseball. It's absolutely absurd. And if you're interested, I highly recommend watching the Yankees. Hey, we're always taking new members. We're always taking new fans. I'm not going to gatekeep like I did with Alabama, like I did with Damien. It's fine. If you want to be a Yankees fan, you can come be a Yankees fan.
So the wagon is big. That's what you're saying.
That's right.
There's always room.
We're always taking applications. That is for certain. All right, now let's get to a little bit of what happened in SEC baseball country, because over the weekend, man, you had some big series here across the SEC. And so let's start off with Auburn and Tennessee. So you had a big series, and first off, a lot of these series were impacted with just an insane amount of rain. So I know for Auburn and Tennessee, for example, you had a game that got started on Friday and then it finished on Saturday. Then you started another game on Saturday for the second part of a doubleheader. Didn't get to finish it. So then you had to finish that game yesterday and play the final game of the 3-game series. So a lot of baseball, a lot of weird stuff, just a lot of weird stuff that was going on over the weekend as a whole. But let's go look at what Auburn and Tennessee, what happened with them over the weekend. So yesterday you did have in the final game of the series, Auburn getting an 8-1 victory. That was only a 7-inning game, again, because of all the weather. They had to get these games in. But a massive win for Auburn yesterday to close out the series as they knocked off the Volunteers 8-1 yesterday. You had on Saturday a 5-4 Tennessee victory. This is the game that carried over to yesterday, where they picked it up in the 10th inning. It was tied at 4, and Tennessee ultimately able to get off a walk-off home run, or not a walk-off home run, sorry, a walk-off single there on a ground ball up the middle that gave them the victory there. But that's where things had started to get chippy, because that's where you had a situation in that game where, again, they resumed this game in the 10th inning, knowing, hey, we're about to have to play an entire second game after this. So you could tell, in my opinion, I think Auburn, you saw an opportunity and you wanted to end the game, right? And so you had a situation where Auburn tried to steal home, and it would have, I guess it wouldn't have won them the game, but it would have given them a one-run lead going into the bottom of the 10th inning or the 11th inning. And it wasn't even close, right? Like the play got absolutely blown up. You got into a little bit of a pickle there between third base and home. Then the guy gets tagged out at home. Apparently he thought he got tagged out too hard or something, which I mean, I'm sorry, in that situation, like, when you have a confrontation at home plate about something, it'd normally be, okay, if someone smacked you in the face to tag you or
Right.
you run over the catcher, you expect a confrontation. But I don't know. I guess from and Auburn fans, please tell me where I'm wrong on this. But just from my perspective, it's like, dude, he's tagging you out at home.
It's baseball.
Yeah, you should
It's a
be
baseball
embarrassed
play.
because you didn't even get close to stealing home. Like it was a terrible decision in my opinion. And then Auburn players got mad. Tennessee players got mad. They were all jawing off at each other. So again, it was just really just a wild weekend with everything that you had going on. But you did have Auburn taking the first game of the series as well back on Friday. So Auburn gets the series win over Tennessee. But you did have those fireworks yesterday, and I saw some people on social media. Well, first off, Tony Vitello got thrown out of the final game yesterday, so he wasn't having it. So a lot of people on social media complaining about the umpires, and they thought the officiating in the entire series was bad. I saw some people that were upset saying, I guess maybe Tennessee didn't play the national anthem before one of the games, or I guess because of the weather, they skipped that to just try to get ahead, and some people weren't happy about that. So from everything that I was able to gather and the little bit that I was able to actually watch with my own two eyes, it seems like Auburn fans, they're happy to get the wins, but they weren't happy with the way that I guess everything going on around the games and the way that they were handled. And then Tennessee, obviously not going to be happy to drop a pair to Auburn, but some really big wins for Auburn over the weekend. And we'll have the next iteration of the college baseball rankings that will come out today, and we will see where Auburn jumps. They were number 10 over the weekend, so potentially big opportunities there for Auburn to be jump up inside the top 10 over the weekend. So you do have Alabama, though. They were playing Vanderbilt over the weekend, and unfortunately, at least as far as yesterday went for the Crimson Tide, it did not go well at all because you did lose, or Alabama lost 9-7 yesterday, but they had a massive lead late in the game yesterday, and they allowed Vanderbilt to come all the way back. It was a 7-2 lead for Alabama late in that game yesterday, and then Vanderbilt gets a 2-run walk-off home run there in the 9th inning to seal the comeback for them, and that's going to be a rough one for Alabama. And those are the kinds of wins or the losses that, again, you're going to have to find a way. You're going to have to find a way to win those games. And they've done a good job in SEC play this year. I think anybody that's watched Alabama baseball, and you could say the same thing for Auburn at times too, but Auburn's been better, in my opinion, than Alabama the last few years. And just in terms of getting into SEC play, and that's when the wheels kind of start to fall off, and nobody wants to see that. But that's been, let's be honest, that's been Alabama's problem at times. But they have done a good job in SEC play this year. But to have just that kind of a game against Vanderbilt and to ultimately collapse the way that they did over the weekend was definitely a tough loss to see. But you did have the good news is you had on Saturday a 5-2 victory over the Vanderbilt Commodores, but you did lose 12-2 on Friday up there in Nashville. So Alabama loses 2 of 3 there to the Doors, pick up the middle game there on Saturday. But yeah, just to be that close to taking the series last night and then to absolutely blow it, giving up 7 runs there late to the Commodores is going to be rough. But if you're interested in just a quick overview of the standings, as we are getting closer and closer to the SEC baseball tournament, that's coming up in about 2 weeks over there in Hoover. But at the top right now, you do still have the Texas Longhorns. They are 19-5 in conference play this season. You have Arkansas right behind them at 17-7. LSU, they are 15-9 now after dropping some to Texas A&M over the weekend. Georgia's also at 15-9. They're in 4th place in the SEC. After that, you have the Tennessee schools. You have Tennessee and Vanderbilt both at 14-10. They're at 5-6 in the conference respectively. So again, quickly, your top 6, Texas, Arkansas, LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. Then Auburn is 7th. They have a 13-11 record, as does Oklahoma and Auburn there right after them, and Ole Miss, actually. So a lot of teams there at 13-11. But Auburn 7th in the SEC, Alabama 9th as it stands right now. Auburn 33-15 overall, Alabama 36-12 overall on the season. So again, 2 really good seasons. Butch Thompson doing a great job on the Plains. Rob Vaughn doing a great job for Alabama, and the job that he's done really just over the last couple of years, turning this program around. Very, very impressive. Butch Thompson been doing a good job at Auburn for a little while now. So overall, not a great weekend for Alabama. Pretty good weekend for Auburn, but you had a lot of fireworks and a lot of drama going on. Okay, let's see. John Mack here. Okay, see, these are all right. So people are weighing in now on what happened at Auburn and Tennessee and why people were getting mad. Somebody says the pitcher covering home plate and tagging the runner out was talking blank as he made the tag. That's what started it. Okay, that makes sense. See, John Mack says Tennessee player shoved him in the chest with both arms. The Auburn player had given up and was allowing the tag. Absolutely no reason to double shove him. Tennessee baseball players are always talking and can't back it up. Now the league is turned off by their poor sportsmanship by players and coaches. Okay. See, and the whole talking smack thing.
They can't back it up. The last time I saw Tennessee play for a championship, who did they play?
Texas A&M.
So they can back it up. Or at least one time they did when it mattered the most. Just trying to sprinkle that in there.
Thank you, Damien. That was a good point. That was a good point there. And okay, I get it. If you're talking crap, whatever, and you get mad and somebody wants to push them, that's fine. But I don't know. I'm sorry. The amount of times that I got tagged out that hard playing baseball growing up and didn't get mad about it because it is what, like, okay, if it's a little petty, it's sports. Like, you're gonna, if you have an opportunity, you're gonna take a little shot here and there. It is what it is. Like, you can get mad. I don't know. I didn't think it was that big of a deal for me personally, from what I saw. But obviously other people saw it differently and maybe had some more context to it than I did. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal. But
they talk about our generation being soft, and
I was about
now,
to say,
now all of a sudden we got to be great sports on the field.
I was about to say, I think it's more the generation after us, because certainly the way that I think you and I both grew up,
It was built a little different.
Yeah, I think we still, I don't know. Yeah, that stuff to me just, it's like, really, why are we making such a big deal about this? Because again, just when we were growing up, we wouldn't be talking about something like this, right? It'd be like,
nope.
Oh yeah, did you see they got a little chippy? Yeah, okay, it is what it is, but people wouldn't be making a big deal about it, in my opinion. But that's what went on in the world of SEC baseball over the weekend. So again, your reminder that the SEC baseball tournament coming up in Hoover in just a couple of weeks now. So that's always going to be a big time over there. All right. Well, when we come back here, got some more of your text messages rolling in 205-834-9450. I want to get your thoughts on some things that went on over the weekend. We also had some NBA playoff action going on as well. So a lot of things left to get to here on the Monday edition of Morning JOX. You're listening to JOX 94.5. 6:37. Welcome back in. Morning JOX here. Conrad and Damien with you on your Monday morning. Appreciate you tuning us in here to start off your day. Coming up at 7 o'clock, you're going to have McElroy and Kublik in the morning. They'll be with you from 7 to 10. Then three-man front coming up from 10 to 2. Of course, the Paul Feinbaum show with you from 2 to 6. And then right after that, you're going to have the Braves pregame show here on JOX 94.5 as the Atlanta Braves will host the Cincinnati Reds tonight. 6:15 first pitch there from Atlanta. Well, over the weekend, the big event, you did have the Kentucky Derby, which took place there at Churchill Downs in Kentucky on Saturday. Really, really bad weather. If you're watching it, I mean, the track just looked absolutely horrible. But regardless, they raced, and in front of 147,406 patrons, it was Sovereignty, who had 9-1 odds going into the race, that ultimately took the crown there at Churchill Downs. Journalism came in second place, who had the best odds. That was the favorite going in to the day there at the Kentucky Derby. But another very thrilling 2 minutes of horse racing that we will then talk about again next year when the Kentucky Derby comes around.
Yep.
Isn't that how it works?
Usually. Did you watch any of it?
I did because the reason I was gone on Thursday and Fridays because I was at the beach for a bachelor trip, and my friend who's the one getting married in a couple weeks, he likes to make his sports watching more entertaining, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah,
and so
what
yeah,
you're putting down, bro.
so he made sure that we were watching it.
I got you.
Didn't work out, but we were watching it.
Yeah, for the 17 hours of like pre-show coverage and things like that.
Yes.
For 2 minutes. It's a lot of horsing around, a lot of horseplay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was also just, I mean, I don't know. I just saw a lot of people roasting, I guess, Livy Dunn because she was I don't know what she did exactly, but she was introducing, if you're watching the broadcast, she kind of did the introduction and people were being very critical of that.
Right. I mean, it's just like seeing people in the fancy suits and dresses. Like, it was cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had more fun, following Xavier Leggett during the process. Cause
he was wearing the Canadian tuxedo.
He was.
Yeah,
he was clean.
He was rocking it.
He was clean, and just that brother there, he is a national treasure. I don't care how much success he has in the NFL. He needs to be around a microphone all the time.
Yeah, it's like Ed O, but like not annoying.
Right. Like his is some of the deepest country from South Carolina I've ever heard.
Oh, I know. It's incredible.
You have to have subtitles, but even the subtitles will be confused.
Yes. No, absolutely. It's like I remember when what was it, like the Grammys one year where you had Young Thug doing Lifestyle and the subtitles just didn't even know what it was just like that's literally what it sounded like on the Grammys, and so nobody knew what the subtitles were, what the lyrics were. But yeah, no, that's pretty spot on. But no, that's what went down at the Kentucky Derby. So I know a lot of people get really excited for that. I know a lot of people, whether maybe you have a watch party for it, maybe you can get dressed up yourself, whatever it is. I know a lot of people enjoyed the Derby, but Sovereignty there, the winner at the 151st Kentucky Derby over the weekend. So we do have some of your texts coming in here, 205-834-9450 about what's going on here over the weekend. Let's see. John Mack chimes in. He says, yeah, y'all's generation is real tough. LMAO. Your GOAT is the biggest flopper any sports has ever seen, who spends half the game on the floor rolling around crying like a 5-year-old girl in a grocery store who didn't get her cupcakes.
Okay.
I just wish we lived in a world where it didn't have to be like my generation's players are better than your gen. Can we not just accept that they're all pretty good? And
exactly.
Again, my whole thing with
it's too much to ask.
It is too much to ask. And I'm not getting into a Michael Jordan and LeBron debate with you, John Mack, but like we're literally arguing about who's the first and who's the second best player of all. It's not like this is a conversation of one guy's the best and one guy's, would be lucky to make, the Hall of Fame. Like,
right.
It's the two best players of all time. And I'm sorry if you don't agree that those are the two best players of all time, you don't know ball. Like, I'm sorry. That's just the reality of the situation. All right. Someone chimes in. They say, Damien, speaking of a wagon, we got a seat saved for you. Schooner, buddy. Boomer Sooner magic awaits you.
Listen, man, Oklahoma the past couple weeks they've really started to move up as far as my SEC fandom this year. Cole and Greg have truly laid out an argument for John Mateer that even I had to go back and look at some of the tape, and
He's pretty good. That
hey,
dude's pretty nice.
I'm telling you, if it clicks, and then you add Jaden Ott, you have hopefully the receivers are going to be healthy. Man, I'm telling you, man, Oklahoma's kind of that team of all the hype we gave South Carolina last year of kind of sneaking up on some people. Oklahoma, they're trending up, man. They're trending up. So as much as we talk about Florida and what DJ Lagway is going to do down there for Billy Napier, I'm telling you, man, if John Mateer, if he clicks, Oklahoma's going to be in a conversation that probably might be uncomfortable for a lot of people in the SEC.
Yeah, see, now I'm done talking about it though, because now it's not like a secret. I feel like anymore, or like like a hot take. Now it's like, oh yeah, Oklahoma's going to be that team, and everybody's agreeing. So now I have to find a different team to talk about because it's not exciting now if everyone else is talking about it. But yeah, no, I mean Oklahoma, it's going to be interesting to say the least. I'm very very intrigued by them this year, no doubt about it. Joseph chimes in. He says, really looking forward to Georgia versus Alabama in baseball this weekend. Yeah, that'll be a great series coming up here over the next few days. Let's see. Somebody says, Nick's Picks texts in. He says, tell Landrum it's all going to be all right and that it could always be worse. He could be an unwavering Pirates fan for his whole life with no light at the end of the tunnel. Man,
ouch.
I feel bad for you, Nick. One of my buddies is a Pirates fan, and sorry, one of them is a Titans fan too. Sorry, Damien.
There's nothing to apologize for. We got Cam Ward. What you talking about?
But one of my buddies is a Pirates fan.
That's tough.
Like lifelong, his family, like lifelong Pirates fans. Yeah, we don't have a lot to talk about in baseball season typically.
Listen,
Paul
I'm a Reds
Skeens is
fan.
still good.
I'm a Reds fan, so like we're usually at the bottom together.
Yeah, y'all are above 500 now though.
Listen, we're trending up.
No more cellar dwellers there in Cincinnati.
No, not at all.
Let's see. Lewis texting said, do you think Jamar Smith is scared he's going to sprain his wrist at dinner this week because he's a Stallions QB? It's just been a weird 6 weeks for that quarterback room. Yeah, I'm serious. I have not.
It's insane.
It really is just a curse, right? Like
it has to be.
And normally those come in 3s, and so now we're at 4. So this is we're entering dark territory here,
right?
With the Stallions,
and that's the thing too. If our QB injuries are the sacrifice for us winning a championship,
I mean, you're tied for the best record in the league, and you're on you played your 4th string quarterback yesterday,
and we're still finding ways to win. Like it's evident. Like the championships run through Birmingham. No matter how you slice it up, we're finding ways to get it done. It doesn't matter who's taking the snap. It doesn't matter as long as you throw Deion Kane and Amari Rodgers and those guys. Hey, we'll figure it out.
They certainly have. They've done a good job of that so far. So just got to keep on trucking here for the final 4 games of the regular season now. But yeah, big win for the Stallions yesterday. If you missed it, over the San Antonio Brahmas. So Peasley got banged up. Cook is dealing with the knee injury. So we will see. But we'll talk with Coach Skip Holtz this week on 3-Man Front and get the latest, as we do every week during the season, on what's going on there with the Stallions. All right, this is a good question to lead us into the break. Someone says, who has the toughest schedule in the SEC in 2025? Kentucky, Oklahoma, or somebody else? So when we come back, we'll get to your phone calls as well, but we'll take a look at maybe the hardest schedule in the SEC upcoming in 2025. You can also weigh in with your thoughts, 205-834-9450. You're listening to Morning JOX.
6:50 here on Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. About to talk about the hardest schedule in the SEC. Hey, listen, some things just write themselves. Let me go ahead and tell you about our friends at Blue Chew. By now, you know Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets are performance enhancement for the bedroom. It can help men gain extra confidence when it's time to perform. Like I said, it's an online service, so you don't have to worry about going to the doctor, having those awkward conversations, no waiting in line with the pharmacy because it ships right to your door. Let me get you set for FREE. That spells free. Go to bluechew.com. Get your first month free when you use our promo code JOX at checkout. The only thing you got to pay for is a $5 shipping. You go to bluechew.com, promo code JOX to receive your first month free. And your boy DM6 tells you all the time, just chew it and do it.
That's a heck of a segue at 6:50 in the morning there from Damian Mitchell. But yeah, he was mentioning somebody texted and asked about the toughest schedules in the SEC. We'll get to that in just a second. First, though, Don, he's been waiting patiently for some time now. Don, good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing well, Don. You have a good weekend?
I did, buddy. Lot going on this weekend. But let me explain to you really what I saw in that Auburn-Tennessee game.
Yeah.
Real quick, Conrad. I'm not saying that you're wrong and everything, but if you watched it, I know this baseball, and I know sometimes it happens like this, but the pitcher for Tennessee was covering the plate. He didn't tag the guy. He pushed the guy. That's why my player got upset. He didn't really tag him. He just pushed him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand watching it. It wasn't, it wasn't the gentlest tag in the world, but I guess I just didn't see like a full arm extension, like shove kind of thing. But I mean, yeah, it was a little. It was a fiery tag. That's how I would describe it, right? You're in a competitive series and you're a little chippy and that's what happened. But no, yeah. I mean, again, I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. I guess for me, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but I get it.
Well, no, and I get that, but I don't know if you guys remember or not, but we had a bench clearing thing with them 2 years ago up there.
I do not remember that.
Our batter Bobby Pierce hit a go-ahead home run at the top of the ninth, and he did a bat flip and it went over by their dugout. And that I don't like their coach. I think he's arrogant and a jerk. But he picked up the bat and threw it at our dugout. And Butch Thompson did not like that, and they emptied the benches that night too. Tennessee's just a little with the coach's attitude. They're just a little bit fiery and to me arrogant and. It came back. I mean, I know they won the national championship last year, but came back and hauled them 2 years ago when Notre Dame beat them in the Super Regional.
Yeah, no, that is a good point, and it's definitely been. I mean, they started off this year hot, like they look like the best team in the country, and that certainly hasn't been the case here for the last couple of weeks. But no, I mean, hey, congrats to your Auburn Tigers for picking up a couple there over the weekend. Don should be a special season for them. Sorry, we have to cut the call short there, but I do want to get to the question that we had on the text line about who has the toughest schedule in the SEC between Florida, Oklahoma, or is there maybe someone else? And I'll say, I mean, looking at, you look at Oklahoma's schedule specifically and what they end the year with. All right, these are the last 7 games for Oklahoma this year in a row. Texas, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri, LSU. Now, okay, you can look at the Tennessee game and say, well, that's probably not going to be too big of a problem maybe this year. Maybe Missouri's going to have a little bit of a regression as well. But, I mean, outside of that, I mean, you're talking about Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Alabama, and LSU. I mean, that's 4 teams right there, or excuse me, 5 teams out of your last 7 games that I think we all expect to at least potentially be in the conversation for a playoff spot, and that's how you end your season. So that just kind of reminds me of what Florida had to go through last year with the end of their schedule. So I would probably lean Oklahoma there. Florida's is a little more front stacked because you have Long Island and USF early on, but then after that, you're at LSU, at Miami, at home against Texas, and then on the road against A&M. That's really difficult 4-game stretch there. But at the end, you do have Kentucky, Mississippi State kind of sprinkled in at the end as well as Tennessee, and those maybe don't look quite as difficult. And then on the Kentucky front, because a lot of people brought up Kentucky, you do have a difficult stretch where you have South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Auburn, and Florida 6 weeks in a row there for Kentucky. So, yeah, those schedules are brutal. I would still probably have to go Oklahoma. I don't know about you, Damian, but that last 7-game stretch for the Sooners is rough.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Oklahoma's schedule, it's those games on the road. Like you have to go to South Carolina, and we've seen some of the better teams go into South Carolina and can barely make it out alive.
Yep.
And I mean, when you've got a trip to Alabama, you got to go to Tennessee. Like it's those games on the road that are probably the most tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's an interesting conversation there. Tomorrow, I do want to look at maybe some of the luckiest and unluckiest teams last year. I saw a really interesting article on this over the weekend. Alabama and Auburn mentioned a lot there. So we'll dive in that tomorrow. We're back at 6 a.m. But right now, McElroy and Kubik in the morning, they're next.